Joining us now is former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul. There's so much going on, Ambassador. If you give me the sympathetic take to Trump on all of this, and then the not so sympathetic take.
There's no sympathetic take to President Trump on any of this. All he's doing is offering Putin concessions. He's undermining Ukraine. He's saying they have to give territory. They can't join NATO. We won't participate in any peacekeeping situation. Oh, and he's also shutting down U.S. assistance to independent media working outside of Russia. This is complete capitulation. So I don't see anything sympathetic about it. My hope is that after a rough start, that the negotiating team will reset and will rethink and begin to be serious about negotiations. Negotiations in diplomacy, I don't think, are very different than they are in business. You don't just hand the person on the other side of the table everything they want at the beginning. You negotiate during a process. You give and take. And they're not doing that yet. It's not too late, but they need to regroup, rethink their strategy, and get serious about trying to negotiate an enduring peace in Ukraine.
The more sympathetic take that I've heard, and I don't know, if it would make sense to you, is that Trump is trying to do all of this to wake Europe up, and that it's been very hard to get the European leaders to really do more. I mean, they've made many promises, but in terms of their own spending, that this is meant to be a giant wake-up call. And I saw that Denmark, I think, is increasing its defense spending, but it was by, 3% of its GDP was $5 billion, I think.
Well, I just disagree with that analysis. I was at the Munich Security Conference 4 days ago. The Europeans are woke up. They are spending significantly more. Mr. Trump needs to check his facts before he speaks. Just like he said Ukraine started the war, just like he said Zelensky is a dictator. These just are not true things. 23 countries now have made the 2% threshold that President Trump himself agreed to. And if we want to go to 3% or 4%, that's great. But the idea that Europe is not spending more on its defense in the last several years is just incorrect.
So that being the case, why are the Europeans so concerned? So European defense stocks just last week started breaking out on the idea that the Europeans are going to have to spend more. So it seems as if the market is telling us they expect a lot more than what we've seen already to be the case.
Yes, because President Trump and his administration has signaled, sometimes publicly, but also privately, that we're pulling out of Europe. That we're no longer going to be there, that we're even going to send our soldiers back. And so they're reacting to that. They're getting, they're saying, okay, now security we'll have to be on our own. But I want to underscore, this is not in America's national interests. We cannot go it alone. If we pull out of NATO and we keep berating our allies and saying we're going to take their land, as we did with Mr. Trump did with Greenland, they're not going to be with us on other security matters that we care about, such as China. So I just think this short-term, beration and lecturing them about their democracy might feel good in the short term, but I think it'll have catastrophic consequences for America's place in the world, including America's place in the economic world.